Hello, reader. Thank you for joining us. This is the Christian Readers Community Podcast. On this podcast, we will be discussing with fellow readers and authors. You will never lack for good conversations and recommendations of Christian books. If you're a lover of literary works, fiction and non-fiction, then you have made the right stop here. Thank you for joining us again, and I hope you listen to every podcast that we get to put out for you. Thank you.
DiAnn Mills is a best-selling author who believes her readers should expect an adventure. She creates action-packed, suspense-filled novels to thrill readers. Her titles have appeared on the CBA and ECPA bestseller lists and won 2 Christy Awards, the Golden Scroll, Inspirational Reader's Choice, and Carol Award contests. Connect with DiAnn at DiAnnandMills.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Christian Readers Community. My name is Faith, and DiAnn Mills has the latest. I mean, you really can't. You can't wait. This is not a book you'd like to miss. And without wasting much time, let me, allow you to hear her. Welcome to the show, DiAnn.
Oh, thank you. Thank you again, Faith. This is an amazing opportunity, and I am thrilled to be a part of your program and to visit with your listeners.
Me too. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. So we're here to talk about your latest book, releasing September 3rd. Tell us about the book, Lethal Standoff.
The book is about a woman who is a negotiator. It is set in Houston, and that's where I live. And that way I know the area, and I know what's happening, and I know where the places are, and I know the temperatures. And that way I can translate that into the lives of my characters and into my readers. But this book is set in Houston and outside of Houston in Southwest Texas. And what the story is about is my hostage negotiator is called to an area, a rural area, Southwest Houston, in which 2 brothers are holding 15 undocumented immigrants for hostage and making some incredulous demands. So her role is to talk these brothers down and to have the safe release of those hostages, and so that no one gets hurt, including the 2 men who are holding these people at gunpoint. So that is what my story is about. Enters my hero. His name is Levi. He is a journalist, well known for writing the truth and for going to whatever lengths he needs to go to ensure that his readers learn the truth, whether it is popular or it's not popular. So I pair him up with my hostage negotiator, and together they are on a mission to set these victims free.
I really can't wait for this one, releasing September 3rd. So where did you get the idea for the story? The idea of the story plot? Where did you get it from?
You know what? I would like to give you a clear answer where my stories come from, but actually they come from everywhere. I am up to date on the news in the world around us. I know that undocumented immigrants entering in through Texas has a lot of debate going back and forth. That's not my focus on this book. My focus is showing real people with real situations. So where did my story come from? Well, I will give you one idea. I have always been a fan of negotiators. A few years ago, I interviewed an FBI hostage negotiator here in Houston and was really, really interested in all he did, his psychology, his interest in behavior, his caring. Those things really intrigued me. Then, on top of that, I am a big fan of masterclass and all the different types of learning that's possible through online video. And I saw one taught by Chris Voss on tactical empathy, and saw that he had been influential in building up the program within the FBI as a hostage negotiator. So I watched the 15 videos. I got onto his blog, and the more I learned about negotiation and people skills and listening skills, the more my story formed. So that may be more than what you wanted, but that's how it got started, and that's where my interest is, and that's what I hope my readers will enjoy.
So that's really great. That's great. Now, talking about negotiators, let's talk about your main character, Carrington. What inspired or who inspired her personality traits? And what are the transformations she underwent in your story?
I believe that my characters need to have not only a physical goal, which of course is solving the problem that they are in the book, but also their internal goals. And that means that they need to solve and take care of and manage and analyze and process and break through what's going on inside of them from that's stopping Carrington and also Levi from being the full, purposeful human being that God has designed for them. So in this story, Carrington is faced with some guilt. Her parents were killed in a car accident, and she was the lone survivor. Her grandmother raised her until her grandmother passed. So the things that she learned about from God as a child, she's a little bit upset about. She is angry that she is alone and doesn't understand why things have happened to her in her life. So she has to come to terms with that before she can face with courage and stamina, strength and determination to stop these crimes that are in the making. And that is really critical for me, Faith, because we all have personal issues and we all need to work through those before we can be our full potential. And I want my readers to understand that just like Carrington has this internal problem to solve, so do we. And so we need to address those things, and hopefully they will be inspired and encouraged to solve some of their own problems. That's always the underlying goal and encouragement that I want for my readers.
What was the most challenging scene you wrote in this book, and what was your favorite?
The most challenging scene, I believe, would be also my favorite scene. And that would be when Carrington and Levi take a leap of courage and faith and approach the two brothers who have these 15 people held in a house. And they approach that house trying to talk the brothers down, and also knowing that they could be shot and killed at the same time. And that scene was very much a challenge because I needed to understand what Carrington was going through, what she could see that Levi was facing, and also how was this man holding a gun on them? How was he going to respond? A lot of emotions flying, and that was very tough. But it also became my favorite scene because I saw people working through through the things that inspired them to be where they were, even if the inspiration was not necessarily a good thing, as it was with the man holding the gun. But it became my favorite because I felt that when it was all said and done, I had done my best to show realistic emotions in a very challenging situation.
Wow. That's great. So, let's talk about faith, the faith aspect of your book. As a Christian author who writes Christian thrillers, Christian suspense, your books always carry Christian themes.
Right.
What role is, the faith aspect of it to carry? Yeah, go ahead.
My books always have at least one character who solves their problems and faces the world around them from a Christian world view. And Carrington is she has not become a Christian at the beginning of this book. She's got to live some life and find out where God fits. On the other hand, Levi, the hero, was raised in a very strict Jewish Orthodox church and family. And when he became Messianic, his family was so upset that they had a burial service for him because in their eyes he died. It was not as if he had become a denomination, but because he had chosen Messianic, that turned his family away from him. So he is starting all over by creating a family environment in his church. He believes strongly that Jesus had come, but at the same time, he really misses his family, and he really wishes there was some kind of reconciliation. And he does attempt on numerous occasions to bring them back together for some kind of reconciliation. But he is my strong Christian character. And although he's not perfect, and although he makes mistakes, he is like the rest of us who are Christian. We understand that we aren't perfect, but we serve a God who is. And that is just very, very important for me to show to my readers. I write fiction because Jesus spoke in parables, and that was my calling. I also, with that, I write fiction, Christian fiction, because all of us have friends and family and neighbors who are not believers, have no desire to become believers. They're not going to go with us to church or any kind of a Christian function. They may not even come to our homes because they're concerned we might be talking about faith, about Jesus. But we can hand those people a novel. And within that novel, they, in an unthreatening environment, can get an idea of what being a Christian is all about. And that's why I write fiction. I want that non-threatening environment that causes that reader to say, well, maybe I need to look just a little bit more into faith, maybe I need to find out what Jesus is all about. So that's why Christianity is the basis of all my novels, all my writing.
That's really, really wonderful. And it's a nice way to share the gospel with those who do not believe. Now you've been writing for years. It's no news, and you have garnered lots of awards over the years since you started writing. What's similar to and different from all the other books you've published over the years?
This is also part of my goal. As you can tell, I'm very competitive with myself, and I'm very goal-oriented, and that is to ensure that everything glorifies God. But my personal goal in writing every book is that each new book, has to be just a little bit better in the craft, better in the characterization, the plot, the emotion, the dialogue, the setting. All those things have to improve in each book. And yes, I can go back to some of the books I wrote originally, and yes, I'm very proud that they are published, but I also cringe a little when I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I don't write like I did back then. So anyway, as I said, that's my goal. That is to make sure that every book is a little bit better. And another thing is this: I feel that in every book, something about me has to experience some spiritual growth and change, because I can't expect my readers to be inspired and encouraged and entertained if I don't experience something myself. So I believe writing is a sacred adventure, and on that adventure of writing that book for my readers, I also want to ensure that they see that faith is real.
Many authors have different reasons for writing, but there is always one ultimate reason. So what is that ultimate reason for writing Lethal Standoff?
My reason for writing is I felt it is a ministry. And I firmly believe in that experience in which God called me into writing for Him. And because it is a ministry, it's also my life purpose, not only to write and create and offer that to readers, but also to coach, mentor, and edit other writers who are serious about growing in their craft. So I guess the short answer is I feel it's a ministry. And because it's a ministry, it is all of me.
Just like with other books you've written, some people, when they receive this one on September 3rd, they will read through it very quickly and they'll be like, what is coming next from DiAnn Mills rather. So tell us, would you mind? I hope you wouldn't mind telling us what you're working on, your next project, because we'd really like to know, and we'd like to know when that one is coming out as well.
Okay. Canyon of Deceit will be a September 2025 release. It is also a book that involves a negotiator, but this time the negotiator is a Texas Ranger, and the heroine is a wilderness survival expert. And this story takes them from the Houston area to far west Texas in the Guadalupe Mountains in an area called Dog Canyon, I've been there, and that's something else, Faith. I just have to visit these areas when I write a book so that I understand more about them. So last spring, husband and I went to Dog Canyon, and we had to fly from Houston into New Mexico to even get to the Texas part of Dog Canyon. It's off the grid, it's desolate, it's beautiful, lots of wildlife, but I can tell you that you don't want to get sick there, and neither do you want to have car problems because you're out in the middle of nowhere, which makes it perfect for my hero and my heroine to find and attempt to negotiate the release of an 8-year-old little girl.
Wow. Can't wait for that one. And I would definitely love to have you back here to talk about that one when it's almost the release date for that one. So before we go, thank you too. So before we go, I'd like to, ask you, for some, words, what you'd have to tell aspiring authors. When did you start? If you can, share with us a little of when you decided to be a writer and how it has changed the trajectory of your life, your ministry, and what you would advise someone who is in the same shoe you found yourself before you started writing several years ago.
Okay. I was writing by the time I was in the 2nd grade with a number 2 lead pencil and what was called a Big Chief notebook pad. And I wrote all the way through elementary, junior high, high school, but I never kept anything because I didn't have confidence in myself. In 1996, my husband said to me, and so this is what I'm saying to all of you who are struggling with, should I write or shouldn't I write? I'm going to challenge you the same way he challenged me. He said to me, stop telling me that someday you're going to write a book. I want you to quit your job and for 1 year work on nothing but your writing, learning how to write, writing, and submitting for publication. And if you get anything published, whether you receive payment for it or not, you don't ever have to go back to your other job. And I'm not a real big person, but I know what it means when they say dynamite comes in small packages, because I looked at him and I said yes, because I felt God calling me to write. I just didn't have the confidence. But here was my husband who saw something in me that I didn't see. And so I wrote that book that year and some articles and a short story, and they were published, and I was paid for it. That first book was released in 98, and Lethal Standoff is book number 94. So obviously he believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. But this is what I encourage all of you to do. Number 1, to pray. Is this what you want me to be doing? Number 2, read. Read everything you can get your hands on, everything. Read the bestsellers and use it like a textbook and highlight or use a note finder to bring every day. Pray, read, write, get involved in a writing group. That's my challenge, and I just gave you what I do.
Wow, I just pray that these powerful words will, change someone's life the way it has changed yours. It's really wonderful seeing that you're touching lives all over the world, literally all over the world with your books, and I'm, very grateful to God for that. Thank you so much, DiAnn. Thank you.
Thank you.